Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. As expected, that low-level cloud layer has continued to build into the area. Currently seeing our ceiling around 3,800 feet, and that onshore slight breeze has picked up a bit, seeing our peak winds around 20 to 21 miles per hour. Expecting those conditions to continue as we move through the day today, and we'll continue to see increased cloudiness, but overall a dry and quiet weather day as we move through the end of the week before we see some unsettled weather moving into the area as we go overnight tonight and into our Saturday. If we look at the current surface analysis, we have a high pressure over the local area that's going to be lifting out of the region as an area of low pressure comes together along the Gulf Coast and lifts up the East Coast, moving into our region. We're going to see that bring rain chances into the area as we get past midnight tonight, as well as some elevated winds becoming quite windy and rainy as we move through today on Saturday. And after that rain moves out, we'll see continued breezy conditions to end the weekend. So if we look at the upper level winds this morning, we're seeing those easterly winds closer to the surface, and as we get above 3,000 feet, more west to west northwesterly winds, around 20 to 30 knots in the mid levels, and then increasing up above 35 knots as we get in the upper levels, and seeing our peak wind of 51 knots at 25,000 feet. Our freezing level today is at 6,400 feet. If we look at the current visible satellite, we can see that cloud layer continuing to move over the southern Delmarva Peninsula. We're going to continue moving northward and staying pretty locked in our local area as we move through at least the first part of the day. Could see that lower level break as we get later in the day, but overall expecting increasing cloudiness ahead of that next system. If you look at the short-term high-resolution models, see how things play out over the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, expecting increasing clouds as we move through the day, but overall dry conditions and just a slight onshore breeze expected. As we go into the evening time frame, we'll see the breeze shift more southeasterly and pick up a bit as we get past midnight, and that's when we'll start to see a chance of a few rain showers moving into the area. And then as we move into the start of the day on Saturday, we'll see rain becoming likely, and we'll see that rain moderate and steady as we move through the morning hours, with pockets of some heavier rain embedded within that as well. We'll see those winds getting quite gusty as well as we move through the day on Saturday, seeing those peak winds up around 40 to 45 miles per hour as we move through the day. Getting into the afternoon hours, we'll still see on and off rain moving through the area. We'll see it become a bit more showery in nature with some lighter breaks in between the heavier pockets of rain. This is when we'll see our better chance of maybe an embedded thunderstorm with this activity, so a slight chance of seeing some lightning in the area, but otherwise continuing with some windy conditions. And then the front starts to approach as we get later in the afternoon. And as you can see, a line of showers possible along and ahead of that front as it pushes through late afternoon and into the first part of the evening. And that front will help push the remainder of the rain showers out of the area, and we'll be seeing some drier conditions, but still continuing with some breezy northwesterly winds as we go overnight Saturday and into the day on Sunday. As we move into Sunday, we'll see the clouds on the decrease for the most part. We'll continue to see windy conditions and overall dry conditions, but still very windy. If we look at the longer-term forecast here, zooming out, looking at the GFS model here, again, dry conditions will continue through today on Sunday. We'll start to see that breeze lighten up a bit as we go into Monday, remaining slightly breezy early on, and we should see that wind continue to decrease as we go through the day, and some weak high pressure influencing the area. So we'll start off next week on the dry side with things looking dry and quiet and slightly cooler than average. But then as we get into the middle of the week and the second portion of the week, we'll see another upper level trough moving across the country. It's going to bring another cold front towards our area, likely as we get into the later part of the day on Wednesday, and potentially seeing another area of low pressure come together and develop along that boundary, as you can see here, bringing some rain chances once again into our region, more so as we go into and through the day on Thursday and rounding out the end of the week. Likely seeing some breezy winds if we see that area of low pressure deepen like the GFS is showing. But so potentially some more rain and wind on for the later portion of next week, but after we get past the unsettled weather for the weekend, we'll see drier conditions moving in to start next week. So if we look at our 24-hour weather risk chart for today, expecting green conditions as we move through the working hours today. We'll see our high temperature up around 50 degrees this afternoon. We'll see those winds out of the east-southeast, 9 to 14 knots, gusting up to 20 knots this afternoon. And as we go into the evening hours, we'll start to see those increasing clouds becoming overcast, and then going past midnight, we'll start to see those winds more out of the south-southeast, 10 to 15 knots, gusting up to 20 knots, and that's when we start to pick up those first chances of some rain showers moving into the area, and that increases as we get past the 4 a.m. time frame when rain becomes likely and steady moving into the region. And we'll see those winds picking up a bit as well, with those gusts starting our Saturday off around 22 knots. So we did pick up that yellow chance for those winds are at or above 25 knots, and we'll keep a yellow risk for those reduced ceilings and visibilities with that shower activity moving in as well. We'll see those tides running normal, and as we go into the weekend forecast, Saturday looks like a soaker of a rain event moving through, as well as some windy conditions. Again, those rain showers will be in the area by the morning time and continuing steady with some pockets of heavier rain moving through. And then we'll see more of a showery nature or on and off nature to the rain as we continue through the afternoon, but still continue with those rain showers as we go into the late afternoon into the evening time frame. Slight chance of embedded thunderstorms, so we do keep a yellow risk for those, for that lightning threat, but otherwise a red risk for the precip. And we are expecting those winds up to 45 mile per hour wind gusts, so we do have that red risk for those winds above 25 knots. And with those heavier rain showers, we'll have reduced ceilings and visibilities as well. But overall, a milder day with a high around 59 degrees, and then the front pushes through. We'll see cooler air moving into the region. We'll have a very slight chance of lingering light rain shower or drizzle for the early part of Saturday evening, but overall we'll just see mostly cloudy conditions with those clouds on a decrease, with winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour behind the front, with that cooler air moving through, expecting a low around 35 degrees. So we continue with that red risk for those winds above 25 knots, and that continues as well into Sunday, as we'll see overall partly cloudy conditions. Do have a chance of seeing some mostly cloudy skies at times, as we often see with high winds, and after a rain event, seeing some cumulus develop through the day. But otherwise, we'll see a windy day early on, and we could see those winds slightly decreasing as we get later in the day, but a high around 52 expected for our Sunday. If we look at the extended forecast here, starting off next week on the dry side with mostly sunny to partly cloudy conditions, we'll see slightly breezy conditions early on Monday, but fairly seasonable temperatures with highs in the low to mid 50s and our lows in the mid to upper 30s. And then as we get into the day on Wednesday, we'll see increasing clouds for our day Wednesday. Do have a chance of a PM rain shower moving through the area as that upper level trough starts to move into our region, but we'll see some milder temperatures with highs up in the upper 50s and our lows in the mid 40s. And then the better chance of rain comes in as we move into Thursday, with looking at about 40% chance of rain at this time. And again, as that area low pressure potentially develops, could see some breezy conditions with that as well. So that's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again at Monday at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend.